Imagine this. You're launching a new telecom company, and your big idea is to give away free 4G data and free calls in a country where people are counting every single megabyte they use. Sounds insane, right? Well, that's exactly what Jio did. In just a few years, they turned India into one of the world's biggest data consumers, knocked out rivals, and forced everyone else to completely change their game. Today, we're going to decode how one single 0 rupee SIM card completely rewrote the rules for the internet in India. So that's the big question, right? How did one free SIM card manage to rewire the digital habits of an entire nation? To really get that, we need to take a quick trip back in time. All right, here's our game plan. First, we'll look at what the world was like before Jio in the era of expensive data. Then, we'll break down their absolutely wild launch strategy and uncover the billion-dollar secret that made it all possible. After that, we'll see the market chaos that followed, figure out how they're actually making money today, and, most importantly, pull out 3 powerful lessons from their playbook. So let's rewind the clock. Before Jio showed up, mobile data in India was, well, it was a precious commodity. It was expensive, it was slow, and people would literally toggle their mobile data on and off just to save their balance. Watching a YouTube video on the go felt like a total luxury, and if you bought a 1 gigabyte data pack, you were going to make that thing last. Just look at these numbers. It's kind of crazy to think about now. The big players were charging around 250 rupees for a single gigabyte of data. It really was a premium product. And then Jio comes along with their launch price, 0. Absolutely nothing. This wasn't a price war. It was a total demolition. They didn't just lower the bar. They dropped it straight through the floor. So how in the world did they do it? Well, Jio basically flipped the entire model on its head. See, they didn't launch like a traditional, careful telecom company. No, they launched like a Silicon Valley tech startup with one single-minded mission: capture the entire market no matter the cost. Their attack was brilliantly simple but devastatingly effective. Step 1, make the core products, data and calls, completely free for months. It was an offer nobody could refuse. Step 2, they built a brand new network that was 4G only. This is key. No old, clunky 2G or 3G tech to slow them down. And step 3, they bundled a whole ecosystem of apps, movies, music, TV, that made the service sticky and made it much harder for you to leave once the free ride was over. And this brings us to the most critical question of all. I mean, giving away your main product for free is usually a pretty fast way to go bankrupt. So how on earth could Jio afford this massive, cash-burning strategy? Well, this wasn't some random act of generosity. It was a carefully planned ambush that was years in the making. Their first secret weapon was a massive upfront investment in infrastructure. Jio spent billions of dollars laying fiber optic cables, building towers, and buying up spectrum long before they had a single paying customer. Secret weapon number 2, the raw financial firepower of its parent company, Reliance Industries. Having that enormous balance sheet behind them meant Jio could afford to just burn cash for years, focusing only on grabbing market share. That's a luxury that none of their competitors even came close to having. And their third secret weapon was a huge tech advantage. By building a modern 4G-only network from scratch, their cost to deliver every gigabyte of data was just fundamentally lower. Think of it like this. They built a brand new, super efficient highway, while their rivals were stuck maintaining old, congested city streets. Everyone else was trying to protect their high prices. Jio just wanted to own all the traffic. So, what happens when you unleash a strategy like this on a market that's completely unprepared? The impact was immediate, it was brutal, and it changed absolutely everything. The change in how people behaved was just staggering. Before Jio, the average Indian was using around 600 megabytes of data a month. A couple years later, that number exploded to over 10 gigabytes. An entire nation's digital habits got rewired almost overnight. And for the competition, the effect was just as dramatic. Data prices across the entire industry just crashed. Smaller telecom players, they were either forced to shut down or merge just to stay alive. Even the giants like Vodafone, Idea, and Airtel watched their market share get eaten away as Jio gobbled up millions and millions of users. But you know, the real story here isn't just about telecom companies fighting each other. This flood of cheap, fast data unlocked the entire digital economy. It fueled the rise of YouTube creators, streaming services, online gaming, digital payments, you name it.
Pretty much every major Indian startup success story from the last few years was built on the foundation of that cheap data pipe that Jio created.
Okay, so once Geo had captured hundreds of millions of users and gotten them hooked on these new data-hungry habits, the strategy had to shift. It was time to go from free to super affordable, but, paid. It was time to make money.
Their playbook now is pretty clear. They bring in revenue through incredibly cheap monthly plans, which only work because of their massive scale. They cross-sell you other products like their GeoFiber home broadband and the low-cost GeoPhone. They bundle content and sell premium features inside their ecosystem of apps. And, of course, they use that gigantic customer base as a launchpad for totally new businesses. The Geo story is so much more than a business case study. It's a full-on masterclass in disruption. So let's boil this all down into 3 huge lessons that any founder or investor can take away from this. Lesson number 1, real disruption requires deep preparation, not just a cool idea. Geo could afford to be so aggressive and offer everything for free because they had patiently spent years and billions of dollars building the infrastructure and getting the money in place to back their play. Second, and this is so important, change the unit of value. The old telecom companies were just selling a commodity. They sold you minutes and megabytes. Geo changed the entire conversation. They weren't selling data. They were selling you an unlimited digital life. That's a much bigger, much more powerful story that completely reframes the product in your mind. And the final lesson is all about the power of the platform. By owning the underlying network, the actual rails of the digital economy, Geo created a launchpad for countless other businesses. Once you control that core platform that everybody depends on, you can build and win in so many other markets on top of it. I've put all the charts and frameworks into a PDF slide deck and a 1-page infographic. The links are in the description. But first, listen to this last point so you don't misread what Geo actually did. And remember, this last crucial point. The flood of cheap data created massive winners and unlocked unbelievable innovation. But that exact same flood also wiped out businesses that were simply not prepared for such a radical change. The playbook is powerful, yes, but it's also absolutely brutal. If you found this breakdown valuable, do me a favor and hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives like this one. We've got new explainers coming for you every Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday.
अगर ये वीडियो पसंद आया तो लाइक और सब्सक्राइब करें।
Imagine this. You're launching a new telecom